Spiro is Africa's largest mobility company with more than 95,000 electric motorbikes, over 2,500 battery swap stations across several African countries, including Rwanda. The company has already raised major funding, including $1,000 million in 2025 and another $50 million in 2026 so far to expand its battery swapping network and electric mobility infrastructure across Africa. Today, transport and technology have a very strong intersection, and it's against this background that today we are hosting the managing director of Spiro Rwanda to have a detailed conversation about this. Mr. Amit, thanks for making time to speak to us today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure completely.
Yeah, so how is Spiro? How is business for starters?
So, thank you for taking out this time. I think business is good, and this is a very right time for us as an electric vehicle company to be firmly entrenched in some of the geographies that we currently operate in. If I come closer home, Rwanda holds a very special place in our hearts. Reason being because we started in Rwanda about 3 years back, and we have really come a long distance from where we started. So today we can boast of about 25,000 bikes in Rwanda, actively swapping. We are really blessed to be here. We've been able to open up close to about 350 odd active swap stations, which are integral to the servicing of these bikes on a daily basis. And we are very happy to be here, especially with the focus that the Rwandese government and the leadership have here is second to none. So the business is good, we are growing, and we want to serve Rwanda even better.
Okay. Many people see Spiro as just a motorcycle company, but I believe there is a bigger problem that you want to solve in Africa. Why did you believe that countries like Rwanda are fit for this kind of transition? And what is that problem you're looking to solve?
Okay. So, good question. I would say, most of the countries in Africa, why we selected Africa as the markets wherein we want to operate, most of the countries in Africa, they are importing fuel economies. What it effectively means is that most part of fuel is imported, be it transportation fuel, be it two-wheeler fuel, be it passenger cars fuel, be it air turbine fuel, be it industrial fuel. Now, when you are importing a lot of these fuel from other countries, there is a huge significant cost on the exchequer. And then, obviously, you have to subsidize a lot of these products when they land into the hands of a final consumer. So, we feel that is point number one. That's problem number one. Problem number two is, obviously, the climate is changing. Fossil fuels are something which everybody knows by now that they are not very conducive to the environment we live in. Maybe the next generation will remember us possibly for making this change, transformational change, wherein we could clean up the environment. So with every bike that is sold, right, and every fuel bike, which is the ICE bike as we call it, internal combustion engine bike, that is replaced, we save close to 2 tons of carbon dioxide annually. Now, when it translates into so many bikes on the road, you can imagine the impact that we are making on the environment. So that is point number 2. Point number 3 is the unit cost of economics. An EV bike today is much more economical, and I can go into the numbers, much more economical compared to a fuel bike. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to change the way people live in terms of their livelihoods. We are trying to improve the livelihoods of people whom we serve today. So I think these are three problems that we are trying to address. Coming to your second question, why Rwanda? My answer to that would be why not? I mean, if there's one country that we would like to entrench deeper and invest more, would be Rwanda. Why? Rwanda is one of those very few governments which are very forward thinking. I think they think ahead of time. The leadership is very progressive in nature. Not many countries would think of a regulation wherein you can ban fuel bikes in a city. Rwanda is one of them. Right? In 2025, Rwanda imposed a regulation wherein no new fuel bikes could be registered. It's a compact geography. Terrain is slightly difficult, but it makes us that much more, trying to work more on the products that we roll out, right? Very clean economy, very strict enforcement of regulation. So we feel Rwanda is the best case. I would say it's a feather in our cap as far as operating in Africa is concerned.
I like the way you tie in the cost and the policies that seem to make this a fertile ground for you, talking about Rwanda. But I'm curious, so far, what has surprised you most about the response from local riders or maybe the customers so far?
So I would say we get surprises every day. Some of them are really very pleasant. We did a research recently on some of the riders, and most of the riders are tied into a businessman who's leasing out these bikes. So how it operates is the businessman buys the bike, pays the cost to the company, Spiro, and then it leases out, he or she leases out those bikes to riders. And they have to pay a significant portion of their earnings on a daily basis. They have to pay back to that businessman as leasing cost. And sometimes there is lack of food on the table for the rider. And the pleasant surprise we get is because of you, I am now earning more because my income is more and my savings are much more. So I am not just solving the problem of food on the table, but I am also ensuring as a rider, my children go to school and my family is secured as far as health is concerned. So that is the pleasant surprise that we get regularly, and this really motivates us and encourages us to do much more for our riders, because now the rider can buy a bike himself, right? He becomes the owner of a bike himself. The second is, I think, the number of women riders that we have in the country. That itself gives us so much more to do because it's a very safe country. So the number of women riders that we have in Rwanda as a percentage of the total riders is by far much higher compared to some of the other countries. And this really surprises us, and this really makes us feel so proud about the geography that we operate in.
Now, so far, I wanted to ask you about a bit of a challenge but let me come back to that shortly. I wanted to ask you, this scenario of having a business person purchasing the bike and give it to a rider, like you've explained, so are they, because sometimes the riders don't have enough money to purchase it themselves quickly.
True.
Does that bring in a little bit of a gap of how these riders should use the bike? Because sometimes you hear people complaining that it has a problem, probably it has a technical issue. You complain about this sometimes. Sure. I think you've heard about these complaints. Sure. Do you think that could be one of the gaps that creates it, or in your view technically, why do you think this happens sometimes?
So you're right. You're quite right in your assessment. See, normally how people, as a layman, if I was not from this industry, I would also perceive a electric vehicle bike, electric vehicle two-wheeler, as very similar to a fuel bike, right? I would say it's got two wheels, I would say it's got a handle, it's got two seats. It's practically the same, but it's not. And that's why comes the concept and idea of education, literacy of a rider. So we have acknowledged that this is a gap. So whenever we now onboard a new customer, right, we ensure that they go through a complete onboarding process, wherein we tell them about the elements of the bike, what are the precautions they need to take, right? Because it's a hilly terrain in most parts of Rwanda, what are the further precautions that they need to take while driving? Because it's not just a rider, it's a rider plus the pillion, plus there are people who are surrounding you. So I think more of education from our side, more of understanding an explanation on the features of the bike and how it operates is something which will go a long way in making us completely zero accident prone. And that's our task. So we do it on a daily basis. We want to better ourselves on a daily basis, keep providing that literacy to each rider who's coming on board with us.
All right, thanks for clarifying that, because it has been a bit biting even on my side.
Sure,
Yeah.
I understand.
You have set up so many thousands of centers. You call them swap stations. What are some of the challenges that you have met in creating this ecosystem?
So, like you rightly put, these stations, I would like you to look at these stations as a fuel station. So, the similar challenges that a fuel station company would go through. So, in this case, Spiro as an electric vehicle provider not just provides the bike, but it also provides swap stations to recharge. So consider of it as a fuel bike. The fuel bike owner or company just sells the bike, and the fuel company is a different company, but here we are the same. So similar, I would not say problems, I would see every problem has an opportunity. So things like getting the right spaces in the city and outside the city, because we are covering the entire country. Second, getting the right people who have this enchanting motivation to be able to serve customers. It's not an easy job, right? Today we have young boys and girls who are manning our swap stations and who are serving customers on a daily basis. It's a difficult job. It's a complete job with so many volumes surging suddenly. An 8-hour shift can look like a 12-hour shift, right? So getting the right-minded people. Third is a lot of our swap stations depends on the electricity we get. So do we have the right electricity available there to be able to service our customers? Because through electricity we charge our batteries, and those batteries are swapped. Now imagine if we open our station and we don't get the right electricity. So I would say it's a constant engagement that we do with the DISCOM, with EUCL and REG, and we keep partnering with them. We co-create and co-evaluate some of these stations. Where can we do it? What is the kind of electricity power that we can get? Can we add more power? Can we improve the capacity of the station? So all of that. And then obviously running those stations, maintaining those stations, these are some of the challenges. But I think all of these challenges have been very, very ably managed through the help and support we have got from our partners, the ecosystem, the people, our customers. They are also very, very, I would say, understanding in a way. When the surges happen, they are also understanding that we are overwhelmed, our staff is overwhelmed. But it's a journey, and I feel this journey cannot be complete when till everybody comes in together.
But I think in my own view, you have actually tried, because recently, I think in the Africa CEOs forum just the other day, you were rewarded, I think.
That's true.
You were given
That's
an
true.
award.
We were rewarded as the most impactful company in Africa.
So that means you're actually you're doing a lot more than just people can see around.
Oh yes, our plans are quite ambitious. We are currently present in about 8 countries in Africa, but we have plans to go into another 10 plus countries in Africa itself. So we are not stopping here. We are wanting to create the objectives that I spoke of, spread across the length and breadth of Africa as a continent. Africa has so much to offer, and we feel we can do our small bit by going to some of these countries wherein we are getting very warm welcomes.
From us, we actually want to congratulate you for that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And let's connect something. There is a school of thought, and you earlier alluded to it as well. There is a financial implication to this. Either someone is getting more rich because they get something to save, and it's also being affected by the fuel prices, like you say. I want you to break it down. Paint for me a picture from that a local rider will just understand. What practical financial difference does switching from fuel-powered bikes to electric bikes really have? I just want that in simple terms for a local rider or someone who is actually planning to buy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. No, I appreciate it. It cannot be so. I mean, this is a audience, and this is a platform wherein we can talk about it very simply. So there are two basic things, levers that we can drive. One is the cost of the bike itself, and second is the running cost of the bike. Now, as a company, our ethos is very clear. We are not here to make money from the bike itself. We are wanting to run this business profitably through the swap station network, by selling energy. We are in the business of selling energy, not bikes. While bike is an end or a means to send it, but we are actually a company which is in the business of selling energy. Now, what does it effectively mean? We have ensured that the best of the bike in terms of its components, which has passed most acid tests across the globe, right, is given here in our same Kigali, Rwanda, and at practically half the cost that you can get a fuel bike. So we sell bikes which are available. Our M2 model is available at about 1 million francs, which is practically close to about 40-50% lower than a fuel bike. So that initial entry barrier of trying to take a new bike is solved. So we came up with that concept. When we came initially, the prices were high, but we have worked very, very hard on the R&D. We have got a very strong R&D team sitting back home in China, in India, and we have got the price of this to a very, very cost-effective basis. The second is the unit economics of running the bike. The cost of fuel, as we all know, is about 2,938. Petrol is now 2,938 francs per liter. A liter of fuel will allow a mileage of about 35 to 40 kilometers for a fuel bike. Compared to that, the Spiro charge, 100% charge, is priced at 2,450 francs per 100% charge, meaning it is 20% lower on the cost liter per 100% charge, and with a 100% charge, the Spiro bike will run 70 to 75 kilometers
Wow.
of range. So double the distance and at 20% lesser the cost. So imagine for a biker who's riding close to about 200 kilometers. So we have got data which, on the basis of which I'm very confident and I'm telling you this. An average biker rider in Rwanda drives close to about 200 to 225 kilometers a day. Now imagine the money that he has been able to save every single day. And that itself is a very strong deciding tool for a person to shift from a fuel bike to a EV bike.
Well, yeah.
I hope that clarifies.
Yeah,
it.
sure. It's self-explanatory. I have another. I'm curious again. Spiro has attracted major international investment at a time when Africa's electric mobility sector is actually growing. What are the investors seeing in Africa's future transport economy that many people may not fully appreciate today?
So I think a good question. I think Africa as a continent, I'm sure it's getting its due, starting to get its due now. What Asia and Europe and US and Canada have gotten. Africa is, one is the demographics itself. Youth is the strongest power of Africa, right? You see so many startups starting today, and people are so keenly observing the youth of Africa because that's the future. It boasts of a populous continent, more than 1 billion people. So that itself makes it a very attractive story. And then when you come to transport, logistics and EV per se, I think more roads to be made, more construction, more logistical affinity to various towns, so many ports. Africa boasts of a very strong coastline as well. So all of this put together, and then you add on EV as a cherry on the cake. That really, seals it as a case, as a business case. It's sealed, and that's what makes it very attractive as a proposition for investors. So all of this put together is a wonderful package that anybody can think of. Any investor is a dream come true for any investor.
Wow.
Now then it depends on what the company is into, how are they scaling up, do they have the right vision, do they have the right people, do they have the right technology, are they investing enough? So all of this is really helping our cause.
Oh, thank you. Well, our time is fast spent, but I have one more question, one last question.
Please go ahead.
Yes. 5 years from now, what would success for Spiro look like? And especially in Rwanda, but also across the continent. And do you look at Africa, or do you even believe that Africa could become a global leader in electric mobility and manufacturing so far, from what you've seen so far?
So, very nice question to end it. Why Africa? I have a firm belief that Africa can be the harbinger of electric mobility across the globe, because it's what I have seen from mobile money. Mobile money as a product category, we have seen how it has got adopted in Africa, and more so closer in East Africa. And case studies are there in Harvard and Whartons of the world. And given the boost that most economies are giving to electric mobility, given that there is a business case which surrounds it, because most of Africa imports a lot of fuel. So I feel there is all the ingredients are ready for Africa to become a strong EV mobility global powerhouse, right? Coming to Spiro, I genuinely feel 5 years from now, I see Spiro expanding in various countries with loads of millions of Spiro bikes, and not just Spiro bikes, maybe other categories in heavy commercial vehicles as well, in passenger cars maybe as well. who knows? I mean, 5 years down the line, we really want to expand to every corner of Africa, wherever we can. Creating our own energy, creating a secondary storage energy which can further charge our batteries and serve our customers. And coming close to Rwanda, I think Rwanda being the crowning jewel of Spiro, across the Spiro markets in Africa, with close to more than about 40% to 50% share. By then we would have changed the livelihoods of millions in Rwanda, and still going strong. That's what I see in 5 years from now for Spiro.
Thank you so much. Thanks for giving us this time, and thanks for adding value to our conversation. Thanks a lot for believing in Rwanda, because your base is right here,
Sure.
and for believing in Africa at large.
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you so much. It's
You're
been a
most
pleasure.
welcome.